Welcome to your Racer X Supercross Show. Jason Weigandt here to preview round 2 of Monster Energy Supercross this weekend in Phoenix, Arizona, and to also do what all riding coaches say not to do, which is look back, this time on Anaheim 1. Let's get started in the same manner Michael Alessi did in his heat race on Saturday night, with a whole shot. That's what they like to say in the Racer X comment boards after each article. That's the first person to get in there and get some news and analysis going. So here's your news and analysis from Anaheim. Ken Roczen wins. Now, it should be a surprise considering Roczen is a rookie, but maybe not if you look at Roczen's tendencies to be a fast starter. 4 different times he had raced the 450 class earlier, albeit on a 350. He was in the mix and running up front immediately each time, including nearly winning the Seattle race 2 years ago. Of course, we know his performances at the Motocross of Nations were of historic proportions. At the opening round of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross at Hangtown the last 2 years, he ran up front 2 years ago, won it last year. It just seems like the opening rounds, the one-off type events, Roczen does well. I think his carefree, fun-loving attitude allows him to shrug off pressure that affect other riders at the opener. Regardless, he won the race the right way, and that was by riding like a veteran, even though he's the rookie, because a lot of other riders who have won a lot of races before made mistakes and opened the door up for Kenny. So now a little statistical analysis on his victory. We'll call this bench racing ammo. 5 total starts for Ken Roczen in the big class, and he already has a victory. That's one of the best marks all time. Only a couple other riders have done better. James Stewart won his 3rd main event in that class, and a couple other riders won their 2nd. Sebastian Tortelli, who won a crazy mutter the opening round of Los Angeles years ago, Damon Bradshaw, Josh Grant, and Justin Barcia. Now, winning it in just 2 starts, which Barcia, Grant, Tortelli, and Bradshaw did, is majorly impressive. We'll unofficially give the all-time quick win record to Barcia because he raced Anaheim 1 last year and then won Phoenix the very next week, only 7 days separating him from his first start and his first win. And speaking of Barcia, he was in Anaheim 1 as well, and he might have been the fastest rider in the building. He was fastest in qualifying practice, which is not actually Barcia's specialty. He was even better in his heat race where he caught and passed James Stewart, and then he blew the start in the main event and finished 5th. Although think about it this way, had Barcia gotten the whole shot in the main event and won it, Roczen would not have won, and then we'd not be talking about how quickly Roczen won his first main event, which would not have spilled into the fact that Barcia is the all-time leader in winning quickly in that class. So that record would have never been mentioned. I saw what you did there, Justin. I like it. I like it. Now, of course, we cannot talk about Monster Energy Supercross without talking about the defending champion, Monster Energy Kawasaki's Ryan Villopoto, who is leading the main event, went down and eventually finished 4th. But even though he was leading, it was not the same dominant ride of Ryan Villopoto that we've come to expect over the last few years, but it was better than Anaheim 1 last year, which was an out-and-out disaster. So you really can't say the champ has a problem. He's overcome a whole lot more than this. But it's kind of nice to see a little breath of fresh air in the series. It's wide open, certainly going into round number 2. He wasn't the only one that had a problem. James Stewart. James Stewart. Oh, James Stewart. Really, what more can you say than that? Let's just transition over to Chad Reed. Chad Reed was Chad Reed. Chad Reed finished on the podium. And when I say Chad Reed is Chad Reed, that's what we mean. You are accustomed to podium finishes from him. And I get that quote directly from his team manager, Dave Osterman, who told us last summer, and I quote, Chad Reed is still Chad Reed. Well, Dave, you're right. He actually is. That was the vintage Chad Reed performance everyone was hoping to see this year. He has clearly bounced back, although the other analysis that Dave gave us was that looking a shark in the eye is exactly like looking Chad Reed in the eye. We will just take Dave's word for it. This all bodes well for Chad Reed fans. Any year that Reed has come into the series with podium-level speed, he's had the tools to battle for the championship. A couple years he's won it, a couple years he's been very close, but every time he has been right in the hunt. It appears that Reed puts last season behind him. He's back where he used to be. It should be very interesting seeing the 2-2 potentially battle for the title at what at this point is a pretty advanced age to be doing that. But let's move forward. Chad Reed actually in Phoenix right now for press day. Let's get the veterans' thoughts on this weekend's race.
The off-season went strong, went well. You know, we confirmed that at the first race in the fact that, you know, we made no changes literally all day. I think for the main I made a click here and there, and kind of made it worse. So should be interesting, you know. I think we're on the money. It seems like our window is broad, which is always good for me. And yeah, I mean, I did my thing in Santa Barbara this week. Team did their thing down south in Temecula, and we meet here in Phoenix. So you know, I think it's funny. You know, for me, I laugh at every interview I've done. You know, it seems like everybody's surprised and wants to know, like, wants to get this, you know, reaction from me that I'm surprised. I mean, I worked my ass off this off season. Just about, you know, the pressure I put on myself. I mean, I expect to be there week in, week out. I expected that. I mean, we had a great off season. You know, I feel like I'm fit and healthy, and like how prepared we are and where we are, I just felt that I was better than like the result that I showed. So. Yeah, having Tate in the opening ceremonies, honestly, it was probably one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. You know, I asked the guys if it was kind of cool. You know, like the off season, I've been spending a lot of time. Tate's been riding a lot, so I kind of was like, you know, that'd be kind of cool. You know, like I've seen in the past, I've seen LaRocco, you know, bring his son Ryder out on the front of his bike. I've seen Wyndham do it. You know, just various different people bring their sons or their daughters out on their bikes and kind of have that unique, you know, experience and fun moment, special moment. And I thought, you know, it'd be kind of cool to take it to the next level and have him actually ride around the track with me.
All right, that's Chad Reed out in the desert. Let's talk about a few other things in the 450 class. Now, the opener is usually a little bit tame. Riders are nervous as it is. They don't want to do anything to raise the stakes, but we had Will Hahn and Vince Freeze get into it in the main event. We had Andrew Short and Ivan Tedesco get into it in the main event, and we had Josh Hill try to take a little measure of revenge on Matt Moss in the main event. That's a lot of action. Pretty exciting stuff. Also, my heart goes out to Trey Kennard. I have a feeling Kennard came into this season thinking he could run the pace of his teammate Barsha, and now he knows Barsha can run the pace of anyone else, but Kennard was out with a broken arm. Similar bad news for Davey Millsaps, who has revealed he has a torn ACL, just underwent surgery. I doubt you're going to see Millsaps back in Supercross in 2014. Kennard will probably be back at the Dallas round in about 5 weeks. Is that it? What? He finished second. Ryan Dungey finished second. Ryan Dungey finished second. You almost take these things for granted to the point where we got this far into the show and it didn't even need mention. Ryan Dungey has raced Anaheim 1 5 times. He has been on the podium now every single time. You take these finishes from Dungey for granted. You leave Anaheim 1 saying, I can't believe Roczen won, and wow, Chad Reed back on the podium. Villopoto could have won if he hadn't gone down. Stewart could have won if he hadn't gone down. Barsha was so fast. Did you see those guys running into each other? And you forget that Ryan Dungey is right there doing what he does, putting himself right into championship contention again. The crazier the season gets, the better off Dungey will be. These consistent finishes could potentially put him in championship contention. You'll love it when an opener leaves you with more questions than answers. We're going to transition over to the 250 class. Now, the bad news for these guys is when there's so much intrigue in the 450 division, there's barely enough time or thoughts left to even discuss the 250s. Jason Anderson and Cole Seeley put on an unbelievable race. Dean Wilson was overcoming an injury coming in, didn't even know if he'd be able to race at all. He rode the free practice as a test, felt good enough to go into qualifying practice and officially qualify for the West region. He finished 4th in the main event, and a great ride by Zach Osborne to finish up in the number 3 spot on the podium. We've got a lot of championship contenders there, but let's be honest, the full focus won't go to the 250 West region unless the 450s start getting boring quickly. So Ryan Villopoto, it's on you to shut everybody in the big class down and put some attention on these guys. Or we'll do our best to do the same. Cooper Webb, 5th place in his first ever Supercross. He is out in Phoenix. Let's get the rookie's take on his first race.
My first race went really good for me. I got 5th, which was the goal, was to top 5. So started off on the right path. I need to work on my starts a little bit. I feel like if I can start up there, then I can run up there. So overall, I thought the first race was really good. It was pretty nerve-wracking lining up and just going out there for that first practice. You know, all the preparation and stuff you put put the work in during the off season, and to finally go out there in front of the stadium and all the people was, for me, it was pretty nerve-wracking, and I feel like I got better as the day went on, kind of got more comfortable and kind of found my flow and just tried to maintain calm and collective. What I learned the first race was what I need to improve on for sure. Starts is definitely one of them, and just kind of how to calm my nerves. I think that was my main issue in practice, and even in the heat race I think I was just kind of overwhelmed with everything that was going on, and just had to go out there and kind of get comfortable. So I think this weekend coming into Phoenix, I'll be more ready to go. Expectations for this race is to try to nail my starts better and go out there and try to put in another top 5. If we can get on that podium, that would definitely be a good goal, and I think we can get there with a better start. And throughout the season, just stay consistent, stay in top 5, try to get some podiums, and maybe at the end of the season try to get a win.
And that's going to do it. We got Matheson JT out there. I'm about to catch a plane myself. Be sure to follow us, racerxonline.com, or you can follow Racer X Online on Twitter or on Instagram. We'll have all the news all weekend long and, of course, into next week. That's your Monster Energy Supercross preview. We'll see you in Phoenix.